please welcome Jonathan Cottrell.
Look at all these beautiful people out here. So I'm so honored to be here tonight. I really do appreciate you taking time to spend listening to all these wonderful speakers we have lined up this evening. A little bit about me. Obviously, as you can see, I'm a cranial nudist. And I have been bicking my head since about 2010. My wife came home with an amazing haircut, and I'm like, you are too cool for me. I need to do something drastic. So if you're out there just hanging on by a thread, just own your dome. Do it. I'm a family man. As I was introduced, I really have enjoyed helping build and foster a lot of the startup community here, helping and serving entrepreneurs. And so when people ask me what it is I do as an entrepreneur, sometimes it's hard to answer that question, especially if you have a lot of balls in the air and you're juggling a little bit. So what I tell people is that I serve entrepreneurs and their communities in love. And I'll tell you a little bit about that, but really it's not so much about what it is that I do here tonight. And I am here, I'm just a guy tonight standing in front of an audience, asking them to love him. So let's get started. I am, ultimately here to guarantee your success in life or your money back. 100% success guarantee. I sound like an infomercial, don't I? But there is, something to this. Now, what is success? A lot of people have different visions of what that looks like in their own mind. When you ask a lot of students, some of them, especially actually at young ages, and maybe even those that are aging as well, think it looks a lot like wealth and building wealth and living richly. And obviously, our culture has promoted that. We have a lot of rap songs out there, right? Get rich or die trying. And obviously, a lot of other things look like success for people as well. There's actually was a study conducted to a number of students from college age and under, asking them what it was that they intended to do with their lives. And a lot of them wanted to become famous as well. And as much as I love rocking out to Wrecking Ball, I'm not sure that this is the face of success either. And so when you go back actually to our country's very roots, its very foundation, obviously we understand that the framers of the Constitution believed that it was self-evident to all that all men were created equal and that they were endowed divinely by a creator with certain rights, and mainly life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I think all of us, mostly, would all say, yeah, we're pursuing happiness. No one's pursuing the opposite of that. But then we must ask, what is happiness? What does that look like? Is it just this feeling that we wake up with, or that we go throughout our days and we say, I'm happy or I'm not happy, and it's fleeting? Well, I think there are some questions we have to answer about this. There's actually been a study, fortunately for us, as all good things, there has to be a study. And this one is quite a long study. It's the longest running study of adult development. And the University of Harvard, by the way, number 2 most innovative school in the US, behind ASU, has been conducting this study on 724 adults. Now, about 1/3 of that adult population were men from Harvard. It actually included even President John F. Kennedy in that study. And then the other 2/3 were those that had come from different backgrounds, that were raised in projects and tenement buildings and single-family homes and a lot of other various backgrounds. And what they found was interesting. There were a few findings. Number one is that beyond a certain point of intelligence, or IQ, that financial success wasn't really dependent upon your intelligence, but a number of other factors, situations, and those that you knew. There were some Freudian, findings about relationships with mothers and fathers. One finding I really enjoyed was that it turns out that political mindedness has to do, or increased in political mindedness, has to do with an increase in your intimacy as you grow older. So I've told my wife that as we age, we will be becoming more liberal because aging liberals have more sex. But also, what they found is that the warmth of relationships throughout life have the greatest positive impact on life satisfaction. And the executive director, the fourth executive director of this running study over 75 years, as you might imagine, summarized it in his findings by saying, happiness is love. Full stop. 75 years, 5 words, pretty simple. And I asked my son one day, 6 years old, he's sitting on the carpet playing his iPad and killing bad guys or something. And he said, oh, I'm so good at this. I'm so great at this. And I stopped him for a moment and I said, Tolan, what is it that you want to be best at in life? What is it that you want to succeed at more than any other person on the face of the planet? And he thought hard for a moment. He looked down at the ground, contemplated, 6 years old, mind you. And finally, he looked up at me and said, Dad, I just want to be best at loving. And I second that motion. And it is my pursuit to love others well. That I believe that is indeed what success looks like. But in that pursuit of happiness and therefore love, there are questions that are on my mind frequently. Number one, who do I love and what do I love about them? I think it takes us looking for those that we know and maybe even those that we don't know to spot what it is that we love about them. Let me actually ask for a volunteer. Now, this is a big crowd. I know there are some people that I know out here in this crowd. So if you know me a little bit at least, raise your hand. David, okay, we got a couple there. Who else? Paul, okay. Andrew, stand up. This guy right here, he walks into a room and everyone feels the positivity and the warmth and the friendship. Also, he has some piercing blue eyes. I can't see him like right this second, but man, when you get up close to him, he will just stare you down right through you with those eyes. This guy is full of warmth and friendship and love, and I love him very much. And I haven't even known him all that long. But man, I can tell you that Andrew Bart is a man who is a friend to many. Paul, you stand up. You can sit down, Andrew. Paul Parent. This guy, I had a meeting with him over coffee about a year ago. And he came, and I was meeting with entrepreneurs, and he came with a little pocket-sized notebook. And he came with his objectives and his questions that he wanted to ask me, ready, prepared. And what I found since that meeting with him is we've actually began working near one another, and I am always trying to get a chance to go near his desk. Fortunately, he's near the restroom, so I get to just wander by and kind of notice what he's working on. And there's always good conversation with him because he's always thoughtful. There's nothing careless. He never arrives at a conclusion or an idea quickly or callously. And I love Paul. You can sit down, brother. And so if it's the cashier, that looks like she's having a hard day, or the homeless man on the street, or if it's even our political candidates that, regardless of your political affiliation, there's something even to love maybe about Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, wherever you are on the line, and looking for those things and expressing them. Because there are lots of people that could say, oh yeah, that person loves me, and I think I know that, or they would know that about me, but we have to express how we feel about these people, what we think about them. Another question is, will I have any regrets later? Look at this lovely lady. That's my mother right there. That's my mom. She's in the audience tonight. She's going to be totally embarrassed by me doing this. And I love my mom, and she's an amazing mother, and she was when we were young, and she still is to this day, and she's an amazing grandma now to my 3 kids. And she gets stuff done. She is very task-oriented, and I myself have gotten that from her, and I'm thankful for that. And she gets so much, and she's so about people and serving them and loving them. But sometimes in the effort to get things done and make people feel loved and serve them, when we would say goodbye, they were quick hugs. Hugs nonetheless, hugs that she would say, "I love you, Jonathan." And I knew it and I know it in my being of beings. But I realized that sometimes the hugs are too quick for my liking. Sometimes the hugs aren't embraces. And so I told my mom with tears in my eyes one night, I said, "Mom, I just want to embrace you. I don't want this to be too quick." Because I love my mom. But there's so many things that we let escape us that go too quickly without ever letting them out and saying them. And so we must. And really, where does love belong? I'm sitting here at a WP Carey talk, business alumni. Does love belong in business? Does love belong outside of just our family and our friendships, with our acquaintances, with our colleagues, with strangers? And I believe we can't compartmentalize the areas of our life where we say, well, love is okay here and appropriate here, but not here. And so I've been on a mission recently to incorporate that as much as possible into my own business. My business, Hopscratch, which was mentioned. We are on a mission to help entrepreneurs start their businesses. Something that you wouldn't necessarily associate with the word love. But our promise is that we will put love first in everything that we do, to our customers, to our employees, to our partners, to all those that we have the opportunity to serve. Because it is so critically important that we do that best. That is what we are on a mission to succeed at above all else. Because I believe firmly and resolutely that love never fails. Businesses come and go, even relationships come and go. But if we have every opportunity to express that love to those others, to make them feel that love, that will be an unfailing endeavor. Put another way, love always succeeds. And this is the very pursuit of happiness that we are on, the pursuit to love and build true, deep, and authentic relationships in everything that we do. One last story for you. There is a partner of mine, a co-founder in Hopscratch, and this was an unusual type of culture and effort. He liked the idea of putting love first, but then when it came to putting it into practice, it was a little bit, shall we say, uncomfortable. It's much easier to say, "It's good to see you, how are you," rather than, "I love you, I appreciate you," and speak to those things that are intimate and deep about that person's character. And so I would hug him, and his arms would sit at the side. And I would say, "I love you," and he would say, "Okay, thanks." And over time, it has become that he has wept with me and spoken very deeply with me about all that's going on in his life without compartmentalization. And that now he is the first to say, "Jonathan, I love you." My wife and I have a saying that it costs everything to live this way, to express love in this way, openly and authentically and truly. But it takes very little. It costs everything, but it takes little. And so I must say, to leave you with this evening, that I encourage each and every person to love everyone, to love out loud and express it, and to love everywhere. Thank you so much.